Tell us, our viewers, and what you do and how you're involved in the magazine.
Yes, okay, so my name is Trevor Clarke. I'm the sub-editor for the magazine. That means I read every single article that comes in, I scrutinise it, I restructure it, make sure it's all in grammatically correct English, and I do a lot of the marketing, a lot of the help and the support for the marketing of the magazine as well.
Where's the idea of the magazine came from?
Well, it was Morella's idea, Morella the editor-in-chief. And she's a migrant woman herself, and she thought it would be a great idea that there's a lot of migrant women from all different corners of the globe and nationalities. They share a number of things in common when they arrive in a new country, about how they settle down, how they start a new career, about culture, integration and language. And she thought there are magazines that are aimed at one particular section, but not one magazine for everybody. And so that was her idea that she came up with.
Tell me more about the magazine and what the aim of the magazine, who they are, audience or they're targeting. Is it only migrant, or is this kind of all different type of women?
I think for all women, it's interestingly, although it's called Migrant Woman, I would say it's a magazine about migrant women, but it's also a magazine for migrant women. But interestingly, we've got a lot of interest from British women as well. There's a lot of stories in there that are as much of interest to them. The thing that I find amazing is there's a lot of men that's taken an interest in the magazine too. So although it's predominantly aimed at migrant women from any country in the world, and it could be first generation immigrants as well, it looks at a range of issues. It does look at some of the heavier issues, but it's light issues about business, about language, about career, relationships. It's really quite a broad mix.
But it's kind of a positive role model platform for women.
Absolutely. Really, the angle that it's using is that a lot of women have got positive stories to tell. Some women have gone through some very challenging and difficult times in their life, but what we're finding is they've got a great fighting spirit. This is what they all share in common, a determination, an aspiration. So they come through it the other side, and they're telling their stories of where they are now, where they're moving on to. We've got other women that are entrepreneurial, and they're telling us their stories of how they come up here, created their own business. But yeah, broadly, it's very positive.
So do you think it gives us a platform and a voice for general women, and not necessarily being migrant women?
I think it does. I'll give you one good example, and I was having a conversation with someone here earlier about that. Domestic violence has been covered in a number of issues, and has been looking at it from a migrant woman perspective, because it's saying, well, they are particularly vulnerable for certain reasons, new country, sometimes to do with the culture they've come from. And yet I only heard on the radio today it's a massive issue in this country too. So it's really it's a big problem everywhere, and I think British women will have a big interest in this as much as migrant women.